Right in front of you, Rocky.
Oh, good.
All right, welcome everyone. I can see all of you here today. And what a gorgeous day. I was laughing when I showed up with Brian because I was in a hoodie sweatshirt and furry boots, and I'm like, why? Like, I didn't even look outside. So I did put it on, it's usually on heat to a certain degree in here, but I changed it to cool because I want to keep it at 74. So if it starts to get overheated with our body temps going up, we will get cooled down. Because it's not meant to be a warm, so hopefully, yes. So I can't remember if I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I don't think that I did. I wanted to bring up today a movie that was released last month called One Love. Have any of you seen it yet? Is that the Bob Marley? Yes. Okay. So I highly recommend this movie if you enjoy going to the theater. I only go once or twice a year. But my son actually informed me about this movie, and I made it a date night. That was our Valentine's together. And it was so good that over the weekend, I took my boyfriend and his daughter, and my son went with us again. So my son and I actually saw it twice in the theater. And it's all about the story and life and music of Bob Marley. And his album, Exodus, was rated or awarded, really, the top album of the 20th century. And I think all of us know his music, so I don't need to play it. But his music had a message. He wasn't a political person, but the song lyrics could become political as far as standing up for your rights, because it was about creating social justice for people. And his messages were also about love and peace. And his upbringing was in Jamaica. And his mother was Jamaican, his father was an Englishman, and he never had a relationship with his father. When his mother decided to move to America, he chose as a teenager to stay in Jamaica for the music, because he already had a band going, and he had been somewhat adopted, I should say, by the Rastafarian community. And I don't know that much about the Rastafarians other than they smoke a lot of ganja. But in that movie, it brings a few little nuggets of wisdom about the Rastafari. And I wanted to share that with you because I felt like it was very yogic. So I'm not giving the movie away, go see it, it's phenomenal. But there's one part in the movie where he's kind of getting introduced to this like Rastafarian tribe, and they're trying to explain, we don't use me, you, they, them. We use I and I. And he says, oh, okay, I get it. It's about unity. And then he said, not unity, I-unity. Because again, they don't want the you piece, right? But the I-unity is unity. And that's what we talk about in yoga. Yoga means unity, to bind together, to bring together as one. And so in the Rastafarian traditions, they think, yes, we are all one. So there's no difference between the two. What you are experiencing is affecting me. What I'm experiencing is affecting you. Because we're all interconnected. And so later on in the movie, again, I'm not giving it away, so go see it, or wait for it to stream or whatever. But, at some point in his life, he gets shot. Well, I didn't realize when he got shot was after a concert he had done when Jamaica was about to go into a civil war. There was so much political unrest, there was so much division, sound familiar? That he wanted to do a concert because he thought music could help the people heal and come together as one. So music is the answer. And so he went to put on this concert, and when he went back home, someone came and shot him. He didn't die, but they also shot his wife, and they also shot a manager, all within his home. And his wife, I didn't realize this, was one of the backups. So they all survived the shooting. But you could tell to the movie how, like, anyone would be traumatized by that event and think back on how it happened. And he was looking at the shooter in the eye and literally kind of created an expression like, "Are you really going to do this?" And he just stood there and took the bullet. Well, later on, after he fled Jamaica, because he was worried about, you know, his wife, his children, himself, his band, he sent his wife and children to America to be with his mom. He took off to Europe. And then she eventually joined him in Europe, so they created this new album. And when things started getting a little bit better in Jamaica, they were like, okay, it's time to go home. And they were received so well. And by this time, his music had spread all over the world. And he was like on a world tour. And when he came home to Jamaica, everyone was celebrating his success, and relations were so much better that he was in his home in the same room where he was shot. And he turns around, and who is staring him in the eyes? The shooter. And there's this moment, and the shooter has tears in his eyes, and he's like, "I came to ask for forgiveness." And so he goes over and he starts his heart. He says, "I am a Rastafari. I carry no vengeance. You," and I don't think he said the word you, maybe he said I, but poking at his heart, meaning you have to redeem yourself. And so my lesson for this morning is, we come to the practice and we try to bring in this yogic philosophy, not just the physical exercise. And a real big piece of that philosophy is not attachment. It's letting go. It's a parigraha. And letting go is accepting, forgiving, releasing. And he demonstrated that so well, because that part of the story is totally true. Totally forgave the shooter. But he had told the shooter, you have to forgive yourself. That's where the work is. That's where the work is. I don't know if you guys remember when I came back from the silent retreat and talked about Father Carlos and Speechy Davis. One of the things that he kept emphasizing was, if you really study in the New Testament, and this is what he was saying, he was like, no one's going to be judging you but yourself. You are your judge. And so when we come to the practice and if we're wanting to honor these yogic principles, it's about figuring out where in our body are we still holding on to the things of the past, to the grievances of the past, to the wounds of the past, to the resentments of the past, to the guilt, to the shame of the past, to the fear that comes up from any type of trauma we've experienced. That's the inner demons. That's what we need to go inward and face, and work with, and love on. That whole Mary Magdalene meditation we did a couple weeks ago, same thing. It's kind of creating a thread here, I'm noticing in these lessons, unbeknownst to me, but it's coming together. But the whole Mary Magdalene energy that we meditated on was to find those pockets inside the body and bring it to a place of forgiveness, acceptance, and love. So that's what I want us to work with, because it's in the forgiveness, it's in the release and the letting go, it's in the non-attachment that we free up ourselves, that we free up our headspace, that we free up our energetic cords, that we free up our hearts, that we free up our bodies, so that we're not going to be pained or diseased carrying this stuff around forever and ever, right? So the one lyric I want to bring your attention to is from Redemption Song. Listen to this. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And I want to add in this too, because I don't watch the news, and my boyfriend had it on the other day, and what are they talking about? The threat of nuclear war. The next line in his song, have no fear for atomic energy, none of them can stop our, and that is so true. Don't let that fear come in. Freedom is the goal of yoga. So to release, to accept, to forgive, to release, to let go constantly is taking us back into a state of freedom. That's our intention for today's practice. Okay, so let's find a block or two. And if you don't want to sit on a block, maybe your knees can handle sitting on your heels. And if your knees and ankles are absolutely resistant of this, even with one or two blocks, then create something different. I'm okay with that, because that way you're honoring your body and you're being true to yourself. We're going to start off sitting here, and for the guys in the room, I want your right hand on top of your left with your thumbs touching, and for the ladies in the room, our left hand is going to be on top with our thumbs touching. And this is a mudra for meditation. Try to extend the vertebrae, aligning your head to balance on your shoulders and your shoulders to align over your pelvis. Open up the channel of your breath. Try to increase that intake of oxygen into your lungs. And after the in-breath, notice how even the breath is teaching us the lesson of letting go, of being not attached to that inhale, because now we need to exhale. As you continue to meditate on your breath, you'll find through practice and through repetition, the thought processes of the mind begin to slow. Any judgment in the mind begins to fade. Any emotional storms begin to simmer. We begin to feel more connected. Continue this process of opening up your pranayama. We're going to be working a lot into the hips, hamstrings, quads, and shoulders today. Let's bring our hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at the heart, and open up the eyes. Lace your fingers together and then roll your wrist up in the air. And so as you're extending your arms, just notice your shoulders may not have the capacity to bring the arms back alongside your ears, but if you can back them up so they're out of your peripheral line of view, do that. And then really keep lengthening up to your side waist, allowing some space to enter in between your ribs. Stretch up through the pits of the arms to the outseam of the shoulders. Try to lengthen through your elbows. Feel the erector muscles alongside the spine, building strength. And then notice if you're focusing so much on exertion after that instruction that you are forgetting that rhythmic breath. So bring the breath back into play. One more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, release. All right, we're going to come away from that block. You can set it out in front of your mat. And we're gonna shift onto our sits bones with our feet out in front and the feet splayed apart. Now, the first thing we're gonna do is just kind of open up the spine a little bit more. So have your hands kind of cupping your shins, duck your head, let your knees widen, and open up your chest and throat. And as you exhale, let your knees start to narrow and pull that navel in, pushing into your kidneys as well as your shoulder blades. And then continue with these seated cat-cows. And some of you have already activated Ujjayi pranayama, that audible sounding breath, which is great. All right, we're gonna need our shoulders to open up here. So we're gonna keep the legs wide and we're gonna start to work with the shoulders here. You're gonna lower your left arm to the inside of that left knee. So you're kind of leaning that direction and reach that right arm out and up towards the ceiling. Okay, now that you have that arm reaching out and up towards the ceiling, I want you to notice if you push that left arm into the left leg, notice how you get a little bit more swivel through the barrel of your chest. Yes. So it's coming from your trunk. Good. Exhale. Let's release that right arm. Let's slide it to the inside of the right knee. And then inhale. Take that left arm and reach it out of that. Okay, just hold initially where you're at. But now push that right arm into the leg and notice how you can maybe crank a little bit more into the twist. Let the arm move with your torso instead of yanking your arm back by itself. Good. Exhale, release. All right, now we're going to slide the left shoulder back down, but this time, on this little trick here, if you duck down a little lower, you might be able to thread that left arm under and hook that hand closer to your hip or waist. But then we continue the same directive we did earlier, reaching that right arm out and up. We're changing it though, because we're going to turn the right hand around and then we're going to thread it behind the back. Now you might not be able to reach the other hand, but if you can, either loop the index fingers together or clasp the hands together and then give an extra roll back with your right shoulder and pick up your heart and see if you can slightly gaze towards the windows. Good. Exhale, release. All right, we'll try that same technique to the right. If you drop your head a little bit, that can typically help to wrap that hand under and around. Don't force it, just do your best. Take the left arm, sweep it up. Flip your hand. Thread it behind your back. It's okay if the hands don't come even close. Don't worry about it. Just roll the left shoulder back. Pick up your heart. Gaze over the shoulder and breathe. Good. Exhale, release your hands and exit out. We're going to bring the feet closer. We're going to bump up into a squat. And while you're here, this is just going to help to warm up the hips a little bit. I want to share with you, I've never been religious, even though I used to go to church. But one of the last services I went to was when I lived in Franklin. And it was Easter Sunday. And it was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in the church. The preacher had created this big wooden cross. And the whole point of the sermon was kind of what I was just mentioning here, about letting go and forgiving and giving it over, giving it up, releasing it. And so they handed out slips of paper, they handed out pens, And they said, what is your burden? What is your challenge? What is your wounding? What is weighing heavy on you right now? Write it on a slip of paper. And then at the end, we all had to stand in line. We didn't have to, it was suggested. We stayed in line and we went up and we nailed the piece of paper to the cross. And his point was, it's done. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Only we can create that. We have to give it over. We have to give it up. All right, bring your hands down, slowly straighten out through your legs, turn your toes to face the front, and just fold down the middle. Now, I don't mind if you're plugging your feet down and you're elongating your legs, and I don't mind if your knees are slightly bent. Doesn't really matter. We're just opening up the hamstrings in this gentle formula. I'm okay if you're static. I'm okay if you want to move a little bit. Let your intuitive guided direction. Affirming and really paying attention to the affirmation. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. So often it's the things that we're holding internally that are. Or folds are about letting go. The root chakra is about fear, releasing the fear, so that we're confident, able to move forward in life. Let's heel toe the feet more together. Once you heel toe the feet more together, now plug the feet in and try to straighten up your leg bones. Try to engage your muscles more, including your quads to support this hamstring stretch. And then on your next inhale, take the arms to your sides and up overhead. And then exhale, bring hands home to the heart. All right, we're going to start to flow now. Stand at the top part of your mat. Make sure there's nothing on your mat behind you that's going to be in the way. When you're ready, inhale, arms open up. Keep your chin parallel to the floor, and then exhale, fold down, hitching from your hips. Inhale, lift halfway up. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, full release back down and in. Stand on your palms, set back plank. From our plank position, once you line up the arm bones, rock forward, lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to your back bend. And then exhale, roll it back to downward facing dog. Now, in your downward facing dog, really push down through the mound to the hands, through those base knuckles. Look at your feet and slim up the space in between the big toes. On your next inhale, you're going to lift the left leg halfway up, flexing that ankle, squaring the hips, and then pull the belly in and swing that left foot all the way forward and up between your hands. Now swivel down to your back heel so the right toes are facing that long edge side of your mat, and helicopter up, flipping your left hand, reaching it skyward and lowering your back hand down. Good, exhale. You're gonna drop through the elbow onto the front knee, reach the right arm over, side angle. All right, inhale. Try not to change the lower body. Just become more fluid and mobile in your upper body. The inhale taking us into that reverse warrior. The exhale bringing us down to side angle. Now, as you're in side angle, I want you to notice what's happening with your right shoulder. Is your right shoulder wanting to collapse, like towards your eyelids? Is your heart slightly shining down towards the corner of your mat? Or can you use that left arm, like we did in that earlier twist, to kind of push into the left thigh to swivel more open through our torso? And then once you create that action, is it at all possible and available for you to descend your left fingertips or left palm without losing the openness you created in your trunk. If you lose it, you really should be propped. From the side angle pose, let's lay down towards the left foot, spin off your back heel, frame the front foot with your hands, left foot steps back, plank, exhale, low push-up, chaturanga dandasana, inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, up dog, exhale, roll it back, downward facing dog. Again, readjust your feet if they got too wide through that vinyasa. Meditate on your breath a moment. And now lift your right leg halfway up. Bring that foot to the front of the mat. Lower the left heel to the ground, helicopter up. And then ensuring the right arm's reaching overhead, extending the fingertips, and let your left hand just hang down. Exhale, keep that front thigh rolling open as you transfer to side angle. Continue this in sync with your breath. On your next side angle, let's open up that right thigh by slightly pushing into it with the right arm. At the same time, rolling open through the belly and chest. Maybe this is where you need to remain, but if you want to test the waters, maybe taking the fingertips down to the ground. But if you lose it and start to get a little sloppy in the upper body, it's better to maintain the integrity of the pose. So come back up higher. And then affirming, I am a boundless fountain of energy and strength. Spin off your back heel. Frame the front foot. We're going to bounce that back foot forward. Lift halfway up. Look out. Exhale. Fold back in. Root down through the soles of the feet. Sweep the arms to your sides and up. Exhale. Samasthiti. All right, we're going to keep rolling. We're building up to a couple fancy poses today. Inhale up. Exhale, hinge down. Uttanasana. In and halfway lift. Out. And humbly bow. Inhale, step to your plank. Rock through and lower down to build some upper body strength. Open up your collarbones and shoulders here in up dog. And then exhale, use your core strength to transition to down dog. Rely on your breath. Inhale, the right leg's gonna lift halfway. Exhale, swing it forward and up between the hands. This time, we're gonna offset the left foot, slightly hop it forward so that when we come up, it's warrior one. Good, so from warrior one, pause here. See if you can link your hands together in this mudra. It's called so many different things. Lately, I've just been using kind of the English Jupiter or Kali. There's so many names to it. Shoulders lift up, arms hug the head, and you're just gonna slightly lean forward for lightning lunge. So we're not completely hovering over the front thigh, but you are shifting your gaze beyond your mat, gluing the back foot firmly to the floor. All right, as you exhale, we're bringing the hands down, wiggle the left toes back, heel toe the right foot over just a smidge, and stack on your hands. We're going to attempt to keep that left knee off the floor today for lizard. If you want to bring in blocks to maybe drop to forearms, or maybe you have the availability to go all the way down yourself. Even if you can go all the way down by yourself, some days your body's like, oh, this is good. And other days it's like, I need a little help here. So just respond instead of react to the sensation that shows up. All right, let's come back onto our hands. Heel toe that right foot back in, so you're framing it with the other. Stepping into your plank. Rolling forward and lowering down. Inhaling to the silts of the arm. Exhaling to invert. Now, lift the left leg halfway. Swing it forward and up between the hands. Offset your right foot, plant it down, and come up, Virabhadrasana 1. Attempting to square the hips, but without force. Again, the same shoulders over, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. We're not leaning forward quite yet. Relace, create the mudra above. And then slightly hinge forward. So what you want to think about is this dynamic line here from the index fingers all the way down to the back heel. Exhale, let's release the hands, bring them to the inside of the foot. Heel toe it over just a step or a smidge. Wiggle the right toes back. First, be on your hands or fists. Bring in a prop or lower if you wish. Breath will bring you patience to persevere through the sensation, unless it's sharp or shooting. If that's the case, it's a clear sign or warning that you're doing too much, you need to exit. All right, let's come back to the hands. Heel toe the left foot around. Oh, we've got to bring that back foot forward. I know it's easier to go back. Challenging you a little bit today. And drop in. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, close that space. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we're preparing for a couple of big poses. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hinge down. In and sprout. Out and lower in. And letting go, letting go, letting go. What are you carrying around that you need to release? Inhale, step back, plank. Exhale, lower, elbow squeeze and touch the side body. Inhale, spread your chest. Exhale, invert. All right, inhale, left leg's gonna lift halfway up. Bring it to the front. Stay on the ball of the back foot unless your balance is really unsteady today. Try your hand at the crescent lunge. Okay, from the crescent lunge, we're gonna move into something really familiar. Exhale, hinge down. This time we are hovering over the front thigh, like rather low. Good. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, hover and spread your wings. Please remember this version if you can't do the next one, okay? Inhale, coming up. Exhale, we're gonna dip and take the left arm under the left knee and splay the arms. Then bring the hands to the floor and drop the back knee. Okay. Send your right foot back behind you. Okay. Place your left hand on the inside of the left foot and then turn open through your trunk and reach the right arm side. Okay. I'm going to totally butcher this name. David, if you know the name, help me out. Vishma Matriasana. Oh, it's a mouthful, okay? It's named after a sage. So notice this is very familiar to what we were just doing in side angles with the back knees down. Okay, I want you to build up and just get out of your hip a moment and turn to face me because I want to show you what to do next. If you're coming here, right, and that shoulder is lacking, your heart's kind of shining down, then why not be here and work your trunk, right? Because this is more about the integrity of the pose, okay? So if you need to come back up, come back up. If you can be open in this pose, then try ducking, just like we did in the warm-up. Take the hand to the other side of the ankle. Bring the right hand to the toes that lift. And you're going to try to not only lift the foot, but roll open, see, through the belly and chest. It's a big pose. Want to try it? Yeah. Okay. Now that you've seen it, but if you're not open here, you shouldn't even be going. Is my point. So test the waters here. Maybe you should be here on the knee instead. And if that's where you need to be, that's your pose for this. If you can cross that hand under and to the outside, I kind of frame the heel inside the index finger and thumb, lift the toes, grab it with the right hand, try to lift it up, try to extend the leg, and then spin. It's a lot. See that hand stays planted. That's your base. Your left hand is your base. Great question. That's it, Heather. Yep. You got it. That's it, Brenda. That's it, Debbie. Okay. All right. Descend your foot. That was awesome. All right. Bring your right shin back. I know that was one of our fancy poses. I don't do very often. Hands down. Roll the back toes under. Step to plank. Move through the vinyasa. And after that, it's like, oh yeah, vinyasa. All right, you need to get the right leg up. Swing it through. Plant it down and build up to crescent. All right, so this is going to help us. Exhale, hinge down. Splay your wings. Inhale, gather your energy and come up. Exhale, bring it down to hover. The third one will cross under if possible. But if it's not possible, you're golden to hover here, okay? Just see what is possible. Hands to the inside of the right foot. Drop and descend your back knee. Send your left foot back. Keep your right hand inside that foot and see how it feels to open up in this variation of side angle. And this is where you determine, can I spin over this way? Do I need to be popped on the knee? What is the best for me in this moment? Now, you don't have to come up and figure it out, you know what to do. So if you want to test it out, bend the right arm, that's the key. We have to drop the shoulder in order to transfer the hands. Then we lift the toes, take that left hand down to grab it, lift it up, trust your knowledge with your body. That's good. And then when you're ready to bring it down, bring it back. Then the shin turns back. Then that right hand can unbind and reframe the foot. Good. Tuck the back toes, step it forward, fold it in. We got one more flow after this. How you doing? Okay, inhale halfway up. Exhale, bow out. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, warning. This next pose, you may want padding for your knee. So whether it's a knee pad, blanket, just letting you know. Hands to prayer. And put it more together here. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, forward fold. In, halfway lift. Out, and release. Inhale, take your plank. Take that next vinyasa. Move with your breath. Don't worry about your pace. The rhythm of your breath is your cadence to follow. All right, here we go. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through between the hands. We're going to drop the back knee. We're going to keep the back toes tucked. Bring the left hand around inside and heel toe the left foot over just a skosh. Okay, not a lot. Not to the edge, just a little bit. Okay, see where the knees line over the ankle? We need to get it back. So to get it back, we're going to focus on the back leg. Inchworm back with your knee, then the foot, then the knee, then the foot, then the knee, then the foot. I know you had to move the padding back. Sorry about that. This is the way. What is that? Mandalorian. This is the way. All right, this is the way because we need this angle here. There's always exceptions to the rules. All right. So, is it possible to maybe come down to forearms? Maybe. Awesome. You don't even have to do anything else. But if you want to try it, this is moving us into the cross pose. So just like that sermon was, leave it all here. I want your mat to be your dumping ground. Okay, so you're going to notice the left shoulder is lower than the knee. Hook that arm under like we did at the very start and bring that hand up towards the waist. Then if you shift your weight to the left a little bit, you'll be able to pick up your right hand, circle it behind your back so that they bind together. Cross pose. And it's a doozy. It's a lot. And I can't hold it very long. When you need to exit, bring your hands back down. Because now we got to inch forward. Knee forward. Foot, knee, foot, knee, foot. Heel toe the left foot in. Frame the front foot. Take your time. Pick up that back knee. Plank. If you want that last vinyasa, here we go. One more side. Right leg halfway lift. Swing it forward and up between the hands. Descend your back knee. But don't uncurl the toes because we have to inchworm back. Knee, toes, knee, toes, knee, toes. Find the padding if you need it. Hand to the inside. If you need a little bit more, walk around with your right foot. Just don't take it all the way to the edge and sink to the forearms if your body allows. So my father was a big grudge holder. If he could still talk today, he would tell me everything I did wrong as a teenager. But I love him to death. I love him to pieces, right? He didn't come to my wedding. And I remember after my wedding, after my honeymoon actually, I came back and I decided I'm never going to talk to this man again. He didn't come to my wedding. How disrespectful. My own father. And he called and he cried. And he said, I'm sorry. And in that moment, I said, I forgive you. No big deal. And I've never brought it up to him, ever. So what is it that you're holding on to? Hook that right arm underneath your right leg if you want to try the full throttle position. Shift your weight to the right. That will help you to pick up your left hand. Stay committed as long as you can, but I know it gets tough. I can only hold it for a few breaths and then I come right back out. Permission granted. All right, heel, body, heel, toe, knee, toes, forward, knee, toes, until that front knee aligns over the ankle. And then we're done with the vinyasas. So let's bring the right knee back to join the left. And Katie, just stay because we're joining you. We're going to child's. Drop in. So here it's like you're wanting to create like a teardrop shape with your spine. Relax your shoulders. They've been doing so much work. When you're ready, slowly start to come up. Now remember this formula we did before? Come back to that. Feet apart. And we're going to slide the left leg out. And the ankle is flexed. Okay, I'm showing you from the back view. But take your left hand now and cross it over to hook the foot of your right knee. Take that right arm skyward. And then you're going to spill down over that left leg. So hopefully you can feel the connection between some of these poses that we've been working with today. Inhale, let's bring it up. Slide your left foot in. Slide your right leg out. Turn up your toes. Right hand. Okay, something that I found is more helpful. Instead of bringing it closer to the knee, maybe down a ways closer to the ankle. And then lift the left arm. Splay out over the straight leg. I don't know the name of this one. I think this is one of these American innovative poses. I could be wrong, but it's a more modern one for sure. And then inhale coming up. And then exhale, bring the knees back together. And have your hands beside your knees. And you're gonna lift your seat and squeeze the arms in to meet your outer thighs. And you're just gonna have barely any weight in the top of your head. Okay, so let your hair touch, but don't let your scalp get smushed. Okay, Your hips are in the air, you're slightly creating that cat stretch back. So, Brenda, pull your belly in, kind of like cat. There you go. Feel the difference there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's your cat stretch back. No, your ear touches. It touches. Just don't put a ton of weight there, just to protect the neck. Sasangasana. I'm just going to collect at the crown a minute because the crown chakra is about unity. As the Rastafarians would say, Einity. Okay, when you're ready to exit, let's come out and prepare for Shavasana. So I hope you enjoyed that practice. I thought it was fun too. If anybody wanted to say for gentle, it's completely different. Is it purple good? Okay, leave it on. A lot of you I know are so well practiced in yoga and so well trained that you don't need a tool to help you to relax at the end of the practice. But if you find that you're ever going through a season or a period where you have difficulty, I highly suggest you invest in an eye pillow. The weight of the eye bag on the ground will create a physiological change for the better, because it naturally calms one of the major nerves in the body. And for now, just use your lids and close your eyes and go within. And we know ourselves better than anybody else. And don't judge yourself, but maybe remember what it is that you've been carrying around and holding on to, that you need to release in order to emancipate yourself from the imprisonment of those circumstances, of those experiences. And the best way to create this inner freedom right now is to just simply breathe and to become the inner witness. And to practice non-attachment. deep. Good exercise, a little movement in your hands and feet. Join me in a comfortable seat. One of those, fancy poses where we were lifting the leg up. I was trying to share the name of the sage. That particular sage that pose is named after is the one who wrote the Yantra mantra in Vedas. And the Yantra mantra is one of the most ancient, famous mantras. And it means, may we meditate on the one who created the whole universe. May he or she enlighten our souls, enlighten our minds. So sit up nice and tall, and I'm going to chant that for you. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Yo yo na prachodayat. Om. I'll remember the importance of constantly letting go in order to liberate mind, body, and spirit. Beautiful. There's tons of really cool workshops this month. Studio, check those out. If you didn't get the newsletter, look on the list. I'm trying to remember what they are. So yeah. There's an intuitive reader, there's a sound bath, astrologer. Isn't Elaine doing a nidra? Yeah, there's a lot. So plethora of good things to try out. Oh, I forgot to give it some shavasana. I brought rose water. Fritz yourself if you want. Yeah. Ooh. Just keep your mouth closed. Rose is very high vibrational oil. It's really good for the skin. It's not like a rose. That's sweaty. That's yeah. Can't buy that. I don't need